I'm Christy Hartman. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are using stamped images of both my gnomes as well as my wild rose. In this video we're going to mostly use scraps to finish these cards. They're just done on a white piece of cardstock. We're going to use scraps for the background. We are going to actually show you a couple different colors here. We are going to stamp and do a little bit of gel plating over the top of these background pieces. Here's a red one. And then we're going to put them together as cards, and we're going to use some colored pencils on them. Let's get started. I'm going to stamp on this cardstock. I'm using a black, a red, and I do use a yellow too. I just don't show it on camera. But I'm using various colors of Distress ink and Distress oxide. And I just stamp these little gnomes randomly onto this black piece of cardstock. Some of them stamp better than others. Now we're on just a basic sheet of red cardstock. It's a 12 by 12 inch size. So I have lots of room for stamping, again using various colors of Distress ink and Distress oxide. After I've completely finished stamping these pieces of cardstock, I decide that they need a little something because they seem a little bit boring to me. And I decide to add some pearlescent paint, and I'm using the Amsterdam standard series of pearlescent paint. I use the gold and I use the blue pearl. The gold on the red and the yellow piece, and then the blue on the black. And this gets a little blotchy. I'm a little concerned that it doesn't work well, but once I cut these papers up to be able to use them for the backgrounds, they worked really well, and I was really happy with them. That airbrush medium just allows the paint to have a little bit longer working time, and it also thins it out a little bit because this Amsterdam paint tends to dry rather quickly. I glued this piece down onto my card. I'm going to glue this piece right over the top of this. And I love how this shimmers because I put that blue iridescent over the top of it. I want to put a gnome on here, and I've stamped it already. I'm going to attach this gnome with a little bit of Blick gel medium. This is just matte. And I add him. Now you will see in the next example, when I attach the wild rose to the card, that I didn't really like the way this worked. So I just used regular glue on this one. Cutting out the wild rose, and I'm going to attach it with just regular glue. I didn't find that the gel medium worked any better than just using regular glue. I am going to go over the tops of these though with the clear gesso, and the clear gesso has a grit to it. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to use colored pencils to color these two. The clear gesso allows you to use your colored pencils, and the grit certainly holds on to colored pencil. It makes it a lot easier to use. Patricia Klein Carmichael from PM Artist Studio uses this technique a lot, and I found it really, really worked well. I was very happy with it. Here I'm adding some circle punches. I'm going to just give this a little bit more of an interest with a feature stripe, of course. Let's add some color to this. We're going to use colored pencils. I've got light peach, I've got flesh tone, and I have blush pink. So let's start with this light peach, and this is just for his nose. And let's go to flesh. We're just going to add a little bit of a shadow. And then this blush pink. And we're going to go back in with our light color. Just go over the top of all of this. These are all warm grays. And this is 50%, 90%, 20%, 10%. Let's move on to 20%. This is 50%. And let's go to 90%. Now let's add in sienna brown, lightly, very, very lightly. This is just dark brown, which now let's take a little bit of just white and let's just kind of blend that together just a little bit. And I think I'll use this. This is a Faber-Castell. This is a polychromo. A few different colors here. I have light cerulean. I have peacock blue, which is slate gray. I have aquamarine, which is, I also have light slate. Oh no, this is blue slate, I'm sorry. And then indigo, which is 901. I don't know that I'll use all of these, I just grabbed them. I think we'll start with this lightest blue. Let's move on to adding a little bit of turquoise, which is aquamarine. Now let's move to, I think this is peacock. We're going to put this in our shaded areas just a bit. We don't have to fill it in completely. Let's use a slate gray to go over the top of that shadowed area. I'll just darken it in and blend it just a bit. And the indigo. I think that looks pretty good. This is a Caran d'Ache, and this is lemon yellow. I want to come into some of these areas and just lightly add a little more color to this. This is something that I see Patricia do at PM Artist Studio, and I think it really is effective, so I thought I would give it a shot. Now, I want to do something to the background, but I don't want to use indigo. Here's a cobalt. When Patricia did this, Patricia Klein Carmichael from PM Artist Studio, she used a much thinner rice paper. And so her rice paper just kind of disappeared when she detached it, but mine's a little thicker, and I could not get it to disappear. I thought we'd give it a try anyway. I thought it was kind of a cool technique. Okay, I like that, but I'm going to go back over the top of this to kind of get it to flow into the background with a little bit of this yellow. Now this, I don't want that. So instead I think I'll go this slate gray. And let's go back over the top of this with a little bit of white. This is espresso, excuse me. I was thinking with this metallic blue, this is a turquoise blue, let's just add some interest to some of these, our feature stripe. We'll let that dry and then I'll erase the pencil marks on the back. Now this one is my wild rose. Wild roses are usually pink, and we have pink in this. Now the inside of this is usually kind of a yellow. So let's put this color, which is yellow-orange. And then let's take this yellow, which is lemon yellow again. This is a Caran d'Ache. Let's go with the blush. Let's go next in with our pink. I have a little bit of magenta. I want to add just a little bit. One last color, we're going to add in a little bit of pomegranate. I want this silver pen, and I just want to add just a dot of silver down here on these. And I grabbed chartreuse. Yeah, it's PC 913, I believe. I think that's the same green. So let's just go over the top of this and pull that green out into our background. So even though I couldn't do what Patricia did on hers, I still think it worked pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. These are Star Sparks Deco Gel, and this is yellow green. Yeah, I kind of like that. These are my finished cards. I have 4 of the gnomes using each one of the different stamps from the set. This one looks more Christmassy, but you know, I don't know why it has to be Christmassy. Just because he's holding a candy cane. It could be for Valentine's Day. And then these, which I think turned out also very well, using the colored pencils to color with, and scraps. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, leave me a comment. I always love to hear from you. And I'll see you in my next video.